Will Sony
Yeah.
reign supreme in 2017? I'm gonna let you run through all the games because there's a lot of them, and I know I
Yeah.
would butcher at least a couple of them in terms of their pronunciation. So yeah,
Okay. No, but it's like, yeah, I have to scroll like down a little bit. It's like pretty insane
yeah.
their lineup, and I mean there are some PSVR exclusives here as well, and some games might slip. But right now we're looking at Gravity Rush 2 that will obviously hit in January. Gran Turismo Sport that was supposed to hit in 2016 now has like a 2017 release date. We don't know when it's going to release. In a PlayStation video, they showed Detroit, and that PlayStation video was saying games coming to PlayStation in 2017. So that is interesting. Nier, this hacker slash game, Farpoint PSVR, Dreams of course from Media Molecule, we know them from Little Big Planet, Hellblade, Nia Theory game, looks a lot like Heavenly Sword, Drawn to Dead, Yakuza 0, of course the remake, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, that's the obviously the standalone DLC for Uncharted 4, Matterfall, a new game from the creators of Resogun, Wipeout HD, of course the HD collection of some Wipeout games, Everybody's Golf, Persona 5, highly anticipated JRPG, of course already out in Japan, but now we can finally play it on April 4th. Neo is like this Dark Souls type of game that will also hit. I don't think that it will do really well. Hopefully, yeah, it can like attract some, yeah, Dark Souls fans, but find it hard to believe right now. Neck to Starblood Arena is also a PSVR game. Horizon Zero Dawn, of course, huge. The Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Ni no Kuni 2, another highly anticipated JRPG. Ace Combat 7, I think it is, for the PSVR. God of War, maybe. There was like an interesting tweet from the PlayStation from Deutschland, from Germany, saying that what games are you looking forward to in 2017? And it had Horizon, Days Gone, or yeah, like Horizon and some other titles, and God of War in there as well. So they're probably aiming for a 2017 release, like we already discussed a little bit in a different video for holiday 2017. Days Gone, obviously the game from Sony band. Also, maybe 2017. I think it will be smart to release in early 2018 to give them some room to breathe, but who knows. Shenmue 3 still slated for December 2017, and Danganronpa 3, also a Japanese game. Really looking forward to that one, but that's a little bit niche. Still, if we look at like the big titles on this list, Gran Turismo will be huge. Detroit will be huge, of course, from the creators of Heavy Rain. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy will be huge. Persona 5 will be huge in its like own sort of Japanese. I mean, it will probably be bigger than the regular like Japanese releases that we see like every now and then, because it really has some name attached to it. But yeah, that will be also a game that will probably hit like nines, because it like I said, already out in Japan, gets some great scores. Horizon Zero Dawn will of course be huge. Crash Bandicoot, I think that will really surprise people how huge that will be. Looking at some sort of Facebook, people like some Facebook pages like posting videos about Crash Bandicoot, or like looking at my own videos how the Crash Bandicoot content is doing. Really, people are excited about this trilogy, and it looks amazing. And it will be $40, so
Yep.
that will be a huge hit. Ni no Kuni 2 will be pretty huge. Of course, God of War, if that's going to release, will be fucking huge. Days Gone, hopefully. But that's like really a AAA game. If you look at that, okay, open world zombies, it's like more budget than some sort of State of Decay game, in my opinion. State of Decay, of course, the first one was really this sort of between a full price game and like an indie game, like smaller game. So yeah, this will probably be huger, and like with a real story and stuff like that. Yeah, and then we get Shenmue 3, of course, got a lot of applause, but don't think it will do really well. It was like the best Kickstarter though in terms of games. So
Yeah.
so they have like some huge titles here, and then we also have PSVR. I think that is really where Sony is going to lag in 2017. I mean, the games that I listed, where are the PSVR like exclusive games? Of course, Gran Turismo will also have some PSVR support, but that like not like you can play the game like Drive Club VR, but you can probably look around your car or something like that. So that's like not something you're really you should be excited about. Ace Combat will of course be a huge PSVR game, but I don't think it will set the world on fire. Then we have of course the Vita as well. There are some Vita games actually on here, but those are really Japanese games, and some games like Gravity Rush was of course first on Vita, now only on PS4, but Danganronpa will be on Vita, and there will be some other games. I mean, they will just be fine. The people that love the Vita right now know what they can expect, so they will be fine. But in terms of PS4 AAA budget games, if even like one of the God of War, Days Gone, or Detroit will launch, it will be a huge deal. What do you think?
I think that Sony has it in the bag in terms of the mainstream console race this year. I think that even though Nintendo I think is going to do well, I don't think that they'll be able to compete with the frequency of good games releasing from Sony. And that's not a bad thing. That's just because they're releasing a new console and they have to sort of build up that catalog there. So there's going to be good games from Nintendo, I think. It's just I don't think it's going to be in the frequency of the PlayStation 4. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that this is the nature of the beast. And with the PlayStation 4 Pro going to be having a price drop around holiday, it's predictable. That's also going to sort of enhance the amount of PlayStation gamers, and it's going to allow people like myself even who plays basically Sony's products for their exclusives. Like I even had a Vita at one point and enjoyed the Vita, and I eventually got rid of it because I think I traded it in to get the PlayStation 4 at one point, and then I played some games on the PlayStation 4. I actually still own Ratchet and Clank. I still own Uncharted 4, and I can't remember the other game off the top of my head. Oh, the Uncharted Collection. So I'm a fan of their franchises, and I can't wait to get a PlayStation 4 Pro to play some of these games. But yeah, I mean, Persona 5 I might check out maybe. I wasn't like a huge person, you know, regarding the like not liking it. When I had it on Vita, I just was like, it's not like a Vita game. I didn't think. I mean, there's a lot of talking, and it didn't really seem like a sort of burst moments type game. Where I think that, you know, sort of lounging, you know, on my TV or whatever, playing it, I think that would be more suited for it, at least in my opinion, in my particular play style. Then you have like Horizon, which I think is going to be a fun experience. Crash Bandicoot's an automatic buy for me. I love Crash Bandicoot so much. It's so a huge piece of my childhood, and so the fact that they are remastering 3 of the games, not just one. I was expecting just one. I would have been happy with this one. They're doing a trilogy, and that's an automatic buy. And it's not even $60 either. It's like, guys,
it looks really great.
Like come on, charge me $60. I want to give you $60. Come on now. And then you have, you know, God of War as well. You have Days Gone. Days Gone, I definitely won't buy it. I don't think it can convince me at all. It just seems like a super generic game to me.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And, you know, there's a lot of other Japanese style games as well. If they're interesting enough on the surface, I might check them out, but I don't know. Like, I see a good bit of games here, like Detroit Become Human. I definitely will pick that up. Gran Turismo Sport, I'll probably rent that. Gravity Rush 2, I'll probably pick that up because I played Gravity Rush 1 and enjoyed it on the Vita. So, yeah, I mean, this is a good amount of games here. So even if some of them slip to 2018, I don't think it will be a big deal. And we still don't know what else they're going to announce at E3 this year either.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah. Totally. And, what's of course also interesting, I mean, if we look at the 2016 lineup, there were some games that we didn't know about and then suddenly appeared in 2016. The Uncharted is of course also, it's just something you look over because it's like not a real game, but it will still be an experience that you want to do. And also, of course, if we look at the Xbox lineup and now the PS4 lineup, you see that all the games that are listed here are really console exclusive. So some might hit PC, maybe Hellblade or something like that, but a lot of titles like Crash Bandicoot, Ni no Kuni 2, God of War, Horizon, Detroit, Gran Turismo are all only available on PS4. So that also has the PS4 going for them, and I think that the strategy with Microsoft thinking, okay, we need to sell more exclusives because they don't sell on the Xbox, let's put them on PC as well, is like not really smart in terms of long-term, creating long-term interest in your console. Because right now, if you look at the lineup, you can play them all on PC While here on PS4, you really have exclusive titles.
It's also the difference between the companies too. You have Microsoft that makes the majority of their money off of Windows, and so the suits are like, why are you guys spending so much time with this Xbox division that's barely making money? And where with Sony, it's like, oh, PlayStation's doing really well. It's like the main thing that's making us money. So exactly. you have two different mentalities going on there, where the suits at Microsoft are like, quit spending so much time on this damn thing. Sony is like, spend so much time on this damn thing. Like they want to spend more time with it because it's making them money. And at a time where Sony was hemorrhaging money and having a lot of issues, the PlayStation brand was there as their rock, and they realized that, and so they're pushing it really, really hard. And so I definitely. It kind of makes me feel like Microsoft sort of has one step out the door, one step in still. Not that they're going to leave the race soon, but that they don't really care as much anymore as they did before. And I think that's just the nature of the beast with how that company's ran and how Sony's ran. And so with this lineup, I mean, it's very jam-packed. There's going to be a lot of these games that I'm going to skip. And there's a lot of them that I'm not really interested in because I find them generic. But the ones that I do pick out of the crowd that do look good to me, that I will buy and I will play, that's enough to basically outweigh the entire roster of the Xbox One, and that's a bad thing for them. And so, and the fact that all those are going to release on PC, I mean, most of them will release on the Windows Store, so I'll never buy them anyhow. I'm still waiting for Forza Horizon 3. Phil Spencer, release the fucking thing, or I will never buy it. But, that's beside the point. It just really comes down to the fact that even if, Sony released these games on PC, I would buy these games over, Microsoft's games any days of the week because they're more original. They aren't a bunch of sequels. Some of them are sequels, but not all of them. There's a lot of them without numbers at the end of them. And a lot of them have a more compelling surface to look at that make you want to dive into them. Some of them might end up still being shallow. Who knows? And we will have to play them. But what we see here is at least the appearance of a ton of different surfaces that we can just sort of, play around with and hope that they're very expansive and very fun, very enjoyable. Where you look at Microsoft's end and it's like, oh well, it's just like paragraph, like it's very small. So it's gonna be a tough challenge for them, and I think that Sony they just have to coast with what they're doing, and they're doing it really well.
I think the challenge that Sony has to face is that release these games in 2017 and don't delay a lot, because
no more greatness awaits, damn it.
I mean, they said that 2016 was the year of the hardware. They of course released the PS4 Slim, the PS4 Pro, and the PSVR. While this year will be the year of the software because they have no hardware slated. Would be really weird to release another PS4 or a new FIDA or something like that. They're not going to do that. They're really going to focus on the software, and I think that that's like the best strategy to combat the Scorpio, because that's probably where the Scorpio will lack. It will be great in terms of specs, but not in terms of software. And if they really can make sure that they have God of War at the end in the PS4 Pro bundle for $350 or $299, I think $350 is more likely, but still, then they could really really combat the Scorpio, because still, I mean, the excitement the Scorpio will get, I mean, it's still a new console, and usually new consoles like get a lot of excitement, and it's like a bigger jump than the PS4 to the PS4 Pro. Then the Xbox One to the Scorpio will be a way bigger jump, so a lot of people might be more excited about that, and so it needs to combat that somehow. And I really hope that Microsoft does really well, because then I think that Sony will go over to a Santa Monica, to another studio, and really like maybe hires a ton of other people to make sure that the game is finished. Because right now, and of course they should take their time, they should do what is best for the game, but I also think that Sony is like a little bit like relaxing, like, okay guys, just do what you want, while hopefully Microsoft will like do something that would really like make a little bit of an alarm go off at Sony's thinking that, okay, we really need to do something in the holiday, because they've been so easy with delaying games in the PS4 era, that hopefully that will change in 2017. That's like the only thing, and I think that PSVR will just be sadly a sort of afterthought that it will be fun. There will be some experiences now and then, but it will not be like something you expect from buying a $400 system.
Yeah, certainly, and it's definitely reasonable to say that Sony, because they're sort of coasting at this point, that Microsoft could take advantage of that, and that's certainly an issue with how Sony acts as of late. Is that they're like, oh, they have a lead and it doesn't really matter, you know, we'll just coast and we'll still win. It matters, and they're becoming a little arrogant, and I hope that they realize that, and they, you know, release these games, they do really well, and they sort of get influenced by money, so they speed up a little bit, but not enough to ruin experiences that would have been better if they were delayed. You know what I mean? So instead of delaying them too much and giving them way too much time to the point where they're not really doing much, they're just like sort of relaxing and not working as hard as they would have normally. Instead of that, you bring them back just a little bit where they want to work harder so they can get the game out the door, but it's still finished, it's still really well done. That's really just what we're asking, because it's getting ridiculous to see like every single exclusive delayed, and their marketing slogan, greatness awaits, literally becoming the entire generation of the PlayStation 4.
I mean, not saying that developers, of course, don't work hard on these games. They work
they do.
really
they
hard.
Do. Yeah.
But it's some sort of like oversight or some sort of thing like we need to get here at this point. And of course, we have no insights in how it's going right now. But from the outside, it really looks like they're just, it's just fine, do whatever you want. But they need to, put some little fire under their ass. To make sure that they hit 2017.
Exactly. It just kind of feels like an early access game on Steam, where it's a smaller studio that maybe doesn't have a lot of experience, that may be working hard, but they don't really have a direction. And so they take a long time to develop their game, even though that game should have took like a year or two less. That's kind of what it feels like that these bigger studios are doing, because they don't really have a fire under their ass to get the game out the door. And I'm a huge proponent of, definitely delay your game if it needs it, but don't delay it so much that it makes me question what you're doing to it.
Gran Turismo, for example.
Exactly. It's also... Yeah, it's also like The Last Guardian. As much as people really, some people are enjoying that game, I can't really look at that game and be like, I just think to myself, what did you spend 10 years on? Like, it doesn't look special in any way that takes 10 years. And so I don't want to think that about these games that are releasing, because it definitely lowers my overall thoughts about them in terms of their quality, because it's like, you guys spent how long again? Like, what were these delays for? Especially if I see one bug, I'm like, you couldn't squish this bug before it released? Like, it sets expectations much higher, and games like Gran Turismo Sport don't need that, and games like God of War don't need that, so hopefully they don't delay that, and games like Horizon Zero Dawn didn't need that, so I'm happy that they most likely won't delay that again. And so, I mean, they just need to get there. The greatness needs to come in 2017, and I think it will. So I'm definitely, anticipating a lot of these games. I don't think I'll be disappointed, and I'll probably be disappointed by one. I mean, it's gonna happen. But
obviously.
But I think overall it's gonna be a good year for Sony, and I would put them at a close second to the PC platform, only because I'm more of a multiplayer gamer, and because of the fact that the majority of my hours, no matter how good these games are, they could all be 10 out of 10s, I'll still spend a lot of time on my PC playing all the other games with my friends and having a really great time. So I just don't think that the amount of single-player experiences that are on the PlayStation 4 can really match the amount of hours I'll be putting on a PC game. So.
Yeah, and also one other interesting fact is that, of course, they also have a lot of third-party deals. So they will have the Red Dead Redemption deal. They have some online content exclusive to them. So that will really help for Red Dead Online. Then they, of course, have the Destiny 2, probably, again. Call of Duty is still the best-selling game of the year, hopefully. Or it will be interesting to watch if that will be the case in 2017. Destiny might overtake that, I think. But anyway, that's still an Activision game, so they will be fine with that. But that's also like some huge titles. They will have Star Wars Battlefront 2. Maybe that will also be a title that they can push again as a PlayStation sort of title. I mean, there are still people thinking that Destiny is a PlayStation exclusive because you only see the PlayStation logo at the end of the trailer. So it's interesting stuff, and if they can really like push this sort of thing in their thought that PlayStation is really where you get all these games, and really release these 2017 games. I mean, I would be fine if like one of the Days Gone, God of War. I really think Days Gone, released it in early 2018. Otherwise, you just send it out to die, and that would be like, yeah. Those guys spent 4 years on that game already, so God of War, they really need to make sure that that will hit. I hope that that will be the case, but we will have to wait and see.